This man didn't make a mistake. That's why he collapsed. His models worked. His assumptions were reasonable. Every decision was defensible. And that's exactly why the outcome was inevitable. In the mid-2000s, America was winning. Home prices were rising. Banks were calm. Money moved quietly. And Jonathan Hale looked calmer than everyone else. This doesn't start like a collapse story. It starts like a control story. Jonathan rose quietly after the dot-com crash. He didn't shout, he didn't hype, he didn't predict. He explained. Stanford graduate, top of his class. In meetings, his voice never rose, because it didn't need to. He founded a company called Clearmetric. It didn't sell apps, it didn't sell dreams. It sold something banks wanted more. No surprises. Risk models, early warning systems, debt projections. Tools CFOs used to sleep at night. By 2006, Clearmetric wasn't famous, but it was powerful. When Jonathan's card hit the table, the room got quieter, because his presence meant a problem had already grown teeth. Jonathan didn't look rich, no sports cars, no magazine covers. But his car was always new, and his apartment always had a view. He didn't show money. He didn't need to. People trusted him, assistants, board members, investors, even the media. He appeared on CNBC rarely, but when he did, anchors stopped interrupting. Because Jonathan didn't forecast, he explained. At home, his parents never fully understood his work. One night, his mother asked, "So, you stop mistakes before they happen?" Jonathan smiled. Most of them. His father didn't smile. Debt doesn't disappear, he said. It just waits. Jonathan heard that sentence for years. Then, he stopped hearing it. Everything made sense. The numbers were clean. No one was raising their voice. And that was the problem. People think Jonathan made his first big mistake during the crisis. He didn't. He made it during applause. By 2006, Clearmetric was profitable, stable, respected. And that's dangerous, because no one watches closely anymore. Jonathan expanded, carefully, precisely, into the fastest-growing corner of American finance, mortgage-backed risk analytics. The housing market was strong, default rates were low, the models looked clean. One early investor, Linda Morales, paused. "This assumes the system stays polite," she said. Jonathan didn't argue. "Systems aren't emotional," he replied. "People are." The expansion worked. Revenue jumped. The team doubled. Banks leaned on Clearmetric to sleep at night. The media noticed, not headlines. The right places. The quiet company saving banks from themselves. The future of risk isn't human. Why math might finally fix Wall Street. Jonathan didn't frame the articles, but he saved the links, and every saved link made the next risk feel smaller. Margins tightened, payments slowed, nothing broke. Jonathan adjusted, buffers increased, exposure reduced, pressure eased. Inside the company, someone said it out loud. He caught it early. They were right. And that success taught Jonathan a dangerous lesson. Being early feels exactly like being right. This wasn't a stupid decision. He was the smartest one in the room. That's why no one objected. To understand Jonathan's next mistake, you have to remember America back then. Wide highways, big cars, steady speed. Everyone moving fast, with cruise control on. Jonathan built Clearmetric the same way. Layer on layer, hedges on top of hedges, fail-safes on top of fail-safes. The system became smooth, effortless, like a car correcting itself before you notice drifting. By late 2007, rumors started circulating, subprime stress, liquidity tightening. Jonathan ran simulations all night. The system adjusted, strained, but held. Again. Employees left energy drinks on his desk. The board stopped asking questions. Because here's the psychological trap. When something saves you enough times, you stop seeing it as fragile. You start seeing it as designed. Clear metric wasn't speeding, it just wasn't touching the wheel anymore. In early 2008, tension was everywhere. Meetings ran long, sentences ended carefully. Jonathan noticed, but he didn't read it as danger. Fear always peaks before fading. Then he saw it, a pocket of panic, mispriced fear. An opportunity created by overreaction. If clear metric moved in, it could neutralize accumulated risk and lock in long-term stability. Linda objected. "This feels like a reset," she said, "and history doesn't allow resets." Jonathan didn't debate. He explained, slowly, methodically. No one found a clear flaw, and that silence felt like approval. Leverage increased, one last time. For a brief moment, everything improved. Losses reversed, confidence returned. Then history stopped being theoretical. Liquidity froze, not slowly, instantly. Margin calls triggered automatically. Not dramatically, sequentially. The system didn't explode, it slid. And in leveraged systems, sliding is enough. Clear metric collapsed inward. No villain, no scandal, just gravity doing its job. The models worked, just for the wrong person. That month, CNBC was always on. Red banners, endless words. Liquidity, exposure, counterparty risk. No one fully understood what was happening, but everyone felt the same thing. This wasn't 2001, this was quieter, and because of that, it was worse. Jonathan watched his models fail perfectly, exactly as designed, just not as imagined. Jonathan Hale didn't misunderstand finance. What he misunderstood was simpler. How long intelligence protects you. Every major decision he made was defensible. Most were technically correct. That's why watching the collapse feels satisfying, because it confirms an uncomfortable truth. Being smart doesn't save you from consequences. It only delays them. His father called weeks later. Not angry, quiet. "You were always the careful one," he said. "I thought you'd know when to stop." Jonathan didn't answer, because stopping isn't something smart systems decide on their own. Almost right is where mistakes hide best. It looks like discipline, sounds like logic, and when it finally shows itself, the account is already closed. This wasn't a collapse story. It was a delay story. If this decision feels uncomfortably familiar to you, don't comment. You already understood. Jonathan Hale wasn't a warning. He was a preview. The next story doesn't start with leverage. It starts with applause, and it ends much faster. Almost right, not wrong decisions, just ones that were right for too long.